Energy drinks definitely gives you wings, but do we have any idea as to how risky these are for your heart health? Effects of vaping as compared to smoking, and also fitness trackers to frequent cases of heart attacks in gym. We have it all covered for you in a brand new episode of Good Life, the Health Show, where we focus on various aspects of health, wellness, lifestyle with all the professionals from the medical sector and experts. This is me, Reshma Heather. We have with us today Dr. Ravi R. Kasliwal with us today. Welcome to the
Thank
show,
you.
Doctor. And before we proceed with the questionnaire, viewers, let me tell you that Dr. Ravi R. Kasliwal is Dr. B.C. Roy National Awardee and also the chairman of Clinical and Preventive Cardiology, Community Outreach and Education at the Medanta, the Medicity, and he has an experience spanning over to 4 decades into cardiovascular sciences. Welcome to the show, Doctor. Once again, well, we proceed with the first thing that in this fast-pacing world, we see the youngsters are very increasingly devoting themselves to fitness. But at the same time, do you think they're missing out on something? 3 points that you would want to mention that they're missing out and is harming their heart health.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There's no harm in being out, in pacing hard, working hard. There's no problem with that. But if along with that, you're not looking after your mental and physical and cardiovascular health, then that's where you're going wrong. Meaning thereby that obesity is on the rise, meaning thereby lipid levels are on the rise, and stress levels are amazingly high. So with this deadly combination, what will result? Disease of the brain, disease of the heart, disease of the kidneys. That's what is happening. And added to that is the fact that in South Asia, all of us know that we have increased levels of high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking and nicotine is absolutely very, very common. So they also add to this, and then genetic history, family history. So we are actually in a state where why would anybody, young person, not get a heart attack if he's doing all these things? And don't forget, one thing which people generally don't ask me is about sleep habits. Fragmented sleep, snoring, sleep apnea are very common. Why? Because we are on our devices till 2 a.m. and we are not getting the usual well-prescribed 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which means we are not allowing the body to recuperate the pacing of work that we are doing in the 2 other quarters. So with that much of sleep apnea, obesity and other risk factors, there is no surprise that our younger and younger people are getting heart attacks. Now even my resident at the emergency ward is not surprised when a 35-year-old gentleman comes clutching his chest and says, "Yeah, do something, I'm dying." Why? Because it's become so common, which bothers us as cardiologists, as professionals. Why? Because when we were in training, this was unheard of. This disease would occur 65, 75, 55 even was considered premature. Now you see what's happening. So your questions and your channel is doing a fantastic work when you say that you are a channel devoted to wellness. And that's what we have forgotten. We are too focused on disease, and that also not early detection, but the very mantra of wellness. Ironic, isn't it? That's what it is. That just as hard work is not going to harm you, but what will help you is a schedule. This is the time I wake up, I exercise. Physical exercise is a huge thing. That's where trackers will help the most. How many steps have I done? And then what do I eat? Now many people skip breakfast, for example. Skipping breakfast is associated with increased levels of heart attacks. So exercise, diet and yoga. These 3 things will help us against the stressors of life, against the fact that maybe we had genetic history. All these things are interlinked.
Okay. To be very precise, Doctor, the 3 main mantras would be exercise,
Diet and
Sleep schedule.
sleep schedule, and also to keep away as far as possible from the harmful effects of stress. See, it's easy to say that. But is it that difficult? No. It's not. Because there is good stress also, there is acute stress, there is chronic stress. Once we understand it, because mental health issues came into focus when we were dealing with COVID. Some bad thing focused on the fact that mind is important. If you think you can be depressed and not have high blood pressure, you are in a fool's paradise. You will have some manifestation of cardiac disease as well. So your questions are well placed, that these are all interlinked. And that's why younger and younger people in our realm are getting heart attacks.
Yes. How early is it? How early should a person should be checking their heart health? What is the age, if you may say?
See, what we are focusing now is males over 20, women over 25. But that's when people should start. But actually, if you look at it, the first 2,000 days in the life of a child are important. But that's when we give them diet which makes, we need to have a happy child and, with cheeks come. So both the mom as well as the child are fed food of that kind. And that lays the foundation. A friend of ours from USA wrote an article which was very prominently published. Heart attacks are a childhood disease. That means the seeds are laid in childhood, and that's very correct. Now your children are not exercising, they are having high fat food, and we can't say that all this is an import of. We can't say these are all because of Western lifestyle. No, we are spoiling it ourselves too, and of course everyone is on their iPads. So which means that the mental health gets deranged, sleep gets deranged, and the physical activity which we should be doing, for which we are buying the trackers, but we are not utilizing them.
So, doctor, like you mentioned, stress is one reason that might affect your heart health. But it's very easy to say, do not take stress.
Sure.
Like how to reduce stress, how to get rid of it, and
So
have a
first
good
let me
life.
tell you what is good stress.
Okay. Yep.
You came for this interview, you are also horned, your pressures were a little higher, and what am I going to ask? What is the other person like? What will the replies be? So there is good stress, which goads you to do good work, and then once the things are over, you come back to normal. Then there is chronic stress, which we also create for ourselves. Chronic stress will give rise to inflammation in the body, will give rise to all kinds of diseases. How can that help? One big thing that will help is discussing with somebody you trust. One good thing, and not take irrelevantly some medications to go to sleep, but discussing your problems out. This is going to be a day-to-day phenomena. When we come home, we also feel, look, maybe we could have done something better for this patient. Maybe we could do this, that. So a group which helps you in that. Because chronic stress will also have effect on the brain. So we have to have an inborn mechanism to help us through that. And sometimes you may just want to go and talk to a counselor and say, look, I'm sorry, but day-to-day things are harming me. Because they set up a cycle of inflammation, high blood pressure, maybe triggering diabetes. And on top of that, the thing that we have not discussed and which is foremost in the younger population is nicotine. Nicotine, drugs, vaping, all these things.
So, doctor, like you have mentioned about this nicotine stuffs, so people are switching to vaping other than smoking, but please tell us effects of vaping
that
as
also
compared to smoking, if you could put up a clear picture for our viewers.
Clear picture, all of them are bad.
Yes.
Clear.
Be it vaping, be it smoking or anything.
See, of a bad thing, if you say, no, instead of 4 points, I'm taking 2 points, what does it matter? It's still bad. And see, it's not only about heart health. It is of course about heart health, but it's also about arteries that go to supply the blood to the brain and the extremities. So nicotine harms, and we are not even talking about the cancer parts that it does. We're just talking of cardiovascular disease, but you are not talking of oncology part, which is bad too, or worse. So apart from the fact that you are overworked and you are not exercising, on top of that, if you think you can reduce stress by smoking, which gives you 200 different kinds of chemicals or more with each puff, then you're fooling yourself. This is not going to reduce your stress, neither nor alcohol. No. It is you who has to think. And I again agree, saying is easy, but doing it is also not that difficult, because your life is otherwise ruined. No? You are not doing anything. You are unable to do anything productive. So you have to think like that.
Okay, also talking about the sleep fragments that you mentioned previously.
Fragmented sleep,
yes,
yeah.
fragmented
Sleep apnea, yeah.
So, for someone who is into frontline working field, be it like a media or in the be a police personnel or a medical staff, they hardly get a proper sleep schedule. So, what about them? How are they to manage?
No, for us we know that whatever it is, 7 hours of sleep. So
Be it any time of the day.
No, it has to be in the night time.
Okay.
Although night shifts will come, then we regulate in the daytime. But 7 to 8 hours that's what the body needs to rejuvenate itself for the other 16 hours. So if we are not rejuvenated there, then we will not be able to A, performing to the same levels, B, we will be causing chronic fatigue syndromes of weakness and mood swings and blood pressure rising and stuff like that. So we are actually harming ourselves by this chronic stress. So sleep is important, and particularly those people who sleep but snore and are found to have sleep apnea, that's a disease by itself. That means enough oxygen is not going to their brains and to their bodies during sleep. That is going to harm people. When they wake up, they are not fresh. They have a tendency to go off to sleep at any time, at any given time during the daytime. Oh, it's a 5-minute nap. No, it's not.
So, what are your thoughts on power nap in the day? Not
No
worth
such
it?
thing as that.
Okay.
See, instead of power napping, if you were to do 10 minutes of a yogic exercise just in the form of pranayama, that will probably help you more. Why? Because it's going to fill your lungs with pure oxygen, which is you're going to distribute. So that's going to be more powerful a thing. I'm not saying do many kriyas, but one kriya will help, and that's what we are sitting here.
So
This is the message we should
What you mean
take.
to say is a complete 7 to 8 hours of sleep cycle, greater than any power naps or skipping up.
And sometimes it does happen, but then you make it up the next day. I mean, you're on an international flight, you couldn't sleep. Make it up the next day. These things will happen. Or you're called to duty at 2 a.m. and look, everybody, all hands on board. Okay. But once you get back, because it was just 1 or 2 or 3 days, you recuperate. If it becomes a chronic habit, because you're not able to sleep because your devices are on till 2 a.m., then you're looking for trouble. Because your eyes are also exhausted, your brain is also exhausted, and you're triggering further disease. So why blame anybody that people are getting heart attacks at age 34? You can't.
It's your own habit that is
It's
showing.
your own habit which is doing it. This is, people say lifestyle disease. And I always say there is neither life nor style in that.
Yeah, there's no lifestyle. Yeah.
Huh? What are you doing? Now, many times people who are field workers, who have a lot of traveling jobs to do, and they're good at it, sometimes they have sleeping hours problem. But that somehow or the other they will have to make it up in some other form.
Yes.
But they're good people, some of them are damn good people. So we can't put all the good doctors on the duty, on night duties every day. It has to be a rota.
Okay, doctor, coming to this question, are these smart watches, fitness trackers are accurate enough to tell you that what's your blood pressure or high pressure percentage?
They're only good at the moment.
Yeah.
Lots of work is going on this.
Yes.
What they're good at is step count.
Okay, step counts.
They do it beautifully. But BP, I know in our own conference we had a meeting, there is a wearable BP device something of the future, it's coming. Accurately it will come. What sometimes the phone people say that we can pick up irregular heartbeats. Well, yes or no. But if it's a persistent atrial fibrillation, for example, we may have to confirm it later on. But right now, if there's one thing which it can tell you absolutely correctly, number of steps. So you can say, look, I got to go 7,500 to 11,000 or 10,000. Perfect. It'll pick it up and dutifully count it for you.
All right, doctor, we'll come back with more questions. Viewers, we have more questions lined up that is of your interest. But before that, we'll take a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Good Life. Welcome back. You're watching Good Life, the health show. Doctor, we were talking about the smartwatches and fitness trackers. Also, now coming to this point, we have these reports of frequent cases of heart attacks in gyms. Why is that so? They have been frequently doing their fitness regime, but why do they suffer through heart attacks?
No, it's a question of supply-demand mismatch that you did. First of all, you had blockages, most likely, which were not diagnosed or nobody thought about. But you had blockages, not 100%, not 90%, but maybe 60 or so, and you had a plaque sitting here, which became unstable. So when you exercise, demand of the heart muscle increases. And the supply comes. If I have normal arteries, the arteries will give me supply. But if there was, let's say, a 70% block, which was not picked up by a TMT, which is not supposed to pick up, then because of this extra work that my heart has been put into, I may have a sudden heart attack, a sudden cessation of activity, the plaque ruptures. What is a plaque? Plaque is a kind of an obstruction inside the arteries. So it is a plaque. It ruptured, hemorrhage took place, and I get a heart attack. This is well known. And then on top of that, if I've had an energy drink, which is, let's say, like 2 shots of caffeine, what will it do to your body? It will increase the heart rate itself. It will raise your pressure. All these are causing pressure on the heart. That's why they're bad.
Doctor, like energy drinks or caffeine. I have seen many youngsters having caffeine and energy drinks before working out. So this is something that they must be avoiding, isn't it?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. And then you don't know what other things are being put in that. Whether they are steroids or some people say, oh, we want muscles, we want to look good. Of course, everybody wants to look good. But taking proteins nicely, starting with small weights, then increasing it, and then increasing your exercise. If you go step by step, your body will sustain it, but not with energy drinks, just by your normal food. That's what your aim has to be. Because caffeine, immediately, like we have a cup of coffee, oh yes, now I can do this. But within 20 minutes, that effect will wane, and what it did cause was an increase of blood pressure for that instance. So to answer your question, why did they have a problem? Because it was a mismatch between the supply and the demand. The demand of the heart was more because you were on grade 4 and you were running on the treadmill, which the heart couldn't cope up with. There was a plaque which gave way, which ruptured. So these are horrendous things. And they malign the gymming process.
Yes.
No. Many people I say, yeah, why do you elevate it? Just go slow. On a, say, 12 minutes for 1 kilometer. Do that. At least the atmosphere is safe. No, you can't say it's snowing or raining or bad weather. You're nicely there and you do a few pumps and you come out. So sanity is important. Huh? You can't go berserk.
And many of our age have this wrong perception of the fact that like you go to the gym to lose weight and then you don't have adequate enough of food because you want to lose weight. That's a wrong perception, isn't it?
If you want to lose weight, meet your dietitian.
Yes. Do not take things into your hands.
And follow her.
Okay.
Why? You brought up a very good point. Obesity is the rising epidemic, not only in India, in the whole world. Many countries which had controlled heart attack rates to a certain level, zero to koi nahi kar sakta, to a certain level, are again showing a steep rise because of obesity, because of stress, because of high fat diet, and a combo of all these three things. But obesity is now in the center of a new syndrome called CRM, heart, kidney, metabolic syndrome, which we used to say, oh no, the person is obese. No, it's a disease. Now it's a disease. And until unless you intelligently cut down your intake of calories, but supplement it with things that will give satiety to you, but it will be good for your body. That's the only way to go, and it cannot happen suddenly. It's a process that you understand. Okay, look, I'm not going to touch this. I'm fine with this.
Also, doctor, we have talked about such cases that happen usually among the young people. So, if we come across such an incident, how do we tackle it? Is there any way that we can help for that amount of time? How to rescue that person who is suffering through something?
No, if somebody's collapsed, then of course you have to do CPR immediately.
Okay.
That's an acute event.
Yeah.
But chronically, if this person is there, you have to say, okay, first get at least a minimal checkup done to look at your lipid levels, your HbA1c, your liver profile. It's becoming very, very common now. Fatty liver.
What are the visible symptoms that we can understand that this person is going through this?
Fatigue.
Fatigue and
Yeah.
fatigue is the
Fatigue is there, not feeling up to the mark.
okay.
And many times
Short of breath.
Short of breath.
Yeah.
And whenever we say fatty liver, and then the enzymes get deranged. So this is a new syndrome now. Metabolic associated liver steatosis. It's a big name, and ultimately liver getting deranged will mean liver, heart all getting deranged means the whole body is deranged. So that's what we have to guard against. With this knowledge that is coming now in the literature, and good sources. So metabolic syndrome is on the rise, obesity is on the rise, stress is on the rise, nicotine of every form is on the rise. Is it any surprise that there are heart attacks taking place? No. But it is not something which we can't do something about. We can. And on top of that, what we are not considering is the atmospheric pollution. Each city has huge amounts of pollution in India. All these will factor in. All these will factor in.
Also, doctor, if someone has a history of heart diseases in the family, what are the active steps their children must take?
So if it's a genetic disease, then you must get yourself checked up. Okay. And definitely keep away from the risk factors. Even that you should do ordinarily, but even that you should also do to keep away from risk factors like hypertension, smoking, diabetes, and high lipids. At least these four you should look after. Do regular exercise and get a checkup done. Yes, no big deal.
Also, doctor, in the last span of 1 year, what are the cases so far in Assam or in Northeast? The number of cases, heart diseases,
Are on the rise.
Are on the rise.
Yeah, they're on the rise all over India.
All right.
And this is no exception.
Okay. If we precisely cut down to 5 points, would be your wellness mantra for the people. In short, it would be diet, good sleep cycle.
First of all, physical exercise.
Okay.
Diet. Good sleep. Absolute absence of nicotine in any form. And carefully looking at your risk factors. That we are putting as 1 point, but that is itself 5 points. That I'm not a diabetic, I'm not a hypertensive, I don't have high cholesterol levels. These things are important.
Also getting detached to phone may be one of the biggest.
Yes, of course. Detached from the phone for at least before sleeping time. Those things are important. If you want to live a good, healthy life, mind you, stress is going to be a very important factor. There is stress everywhere. And we are running. No harm in running, but we have to step back, pause, rejuvenate ourselves, and then go again.
So what you want to mention is mental health is correlated to heart health in all forms.
Absolutely. There is no gain saying that no, it doesn't help. It helps. It is there, and we saw that in COVID era. So, not so nicely, but I mean, people suffered because for days they were inside the room. They couldn't do anything, and they suffered because of bad neurological health. Their BPs went up, their obesity levels went up, which had far-reaching effect. So I think you have asked some very, very decent questions, and they are not just related to young people. Even middle-aged, old people should follow a diet, exercise, yoga regime. And yoga is not difficult at all.
All right, viewers, that's it for today for Good Life, the health show. We will bring to you all latest updates in wellness, health and lifestyle in our next episode.